We've now normalized disappearing people off the street and shipping them off to another country into a torture camp. That's where we are in the US today. Listen to this from Caroline Levitt.
The president has discussed this idea quite a few times publicly. He's also discussed it privately. You're referring to the president's idea for American citizens to potentially be deported. These would be heinous, violent criminals who have broken our nation's laws repeatedly, and these are violent repeat offenders in American streets. The president has said if it's legal, if there is a legal pathway to do that. He's not sure. We are not sure if there is. It's an idea that he has simply floated and has discussed very publicly as in the effort of transparency.
What you just heard is a recent press conference where Caroline Levitt is talking about how the disappearing plans and policies of the US is starting to expand. Now let's take a look at the fact pattern. It initially started with quote-unquote criminal illegal aliens that needed to be rounded up and shipped off. And then it expanded to illegal aliens. Then it expanded to legal residents. And then it expanded to green card holders who were protesting against the government. And now there are open conversations happening within this administration about shipping off US citizens. Let that sink in for a moment. People within this administration are actively talking about stripping citizenship and deporting them to some other place without due process. And understand, the without due process is critical because even though the Supreme Court said that every one of these deportations requires due process, they're not enforcing it. So now you have a presidential administration who has immunity to do whatever they want, and they can disappear and deport people without due process because the court is not going to put their foot down and force them to do it. That's where we are today. And let's think about this clearly. On the list of things that you can do, let's call this what it is. It's not deportation. It's outsourcing your extermination efforts. The administration doesn't even have the courage to carry this stuff out on their own, so they're outsourcing it to a foreign country to handle their extermination camps for them. That's what this is. And if we as American citizens, and if we as legal residents of this country are not enraged by this and fighting back strongly, that says something about us as well. People always ask the question, in 1920s and 1930s and 1940s Germany, why did nobody stand up and say anything? Why did they remain quiet? That silence was Hitler's greatest weapon. Let's not repeat history. We need to make sure that the practice of disappearing citizens off the streets without due process and sending them off to extermination camps is not something that we're going to tolerate.